Thank you, GK, for the demonstration on Aveva OMI capabilities. Now, we will move on to a more in-depth into how the context-driven approach is made available using Aveva OMI without the need of any scripting. Well, if you ask me, this is made possible by using the Content Presenter OMI application that will dynamically show the relevant graphical information by using a runtime search. Some example of what you can search for are like in terms of particular equipment such as boilers, pump, mixers, or even by geographical regions. So, the Aveva Content Presenter OMI application is able to dynamically generate dashboard based on the particular asset that you have selected, pulling information from the web, from the historian trending, as well as GIS map data into a single common platform for users to take actionable insight on. And now, I would like to hand over the time to GK, who will bring us through the mechanics of a context-driven visualization using Aveva OMI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zach. Hi, welcome back. In this demo, I'd like to further explain the navigation features of OMI. Before I show you the editor, let me run through the demo to show you the navigation features of OMI. So in this display, I have the IoT data, and these data are organized according to the region, different region around the United States. So as you can see, when I choose the regions here, you can see that the data in the mapping component will change according to the region and showing all the sensors within the region. At the same time, in this part of the layout, you will see an overview of the data in the region. You will see the trend, the meter value, target value, current value, and these informations repeated for all the data that inside the region. So as long as the operator navigates through the applications in different part of the region, right? The data here get organized according to the selected area, selected region. The operator can further select on the individual data or individual IoT data on the map. And these selections will impact on another app to update the content and show up the trend, the meter value, the target value, the current value of the selected asset. Vice versa, the operator can do the same from the overview here by selecting on the trend and update back into the mapping component the location of the IoT data. So you can see from here, either the user select or navigate through the data from the area selections on top of the menu bar here, or selection from the mapping component, or selection from the trend component here. All the informations are linked. This is what we call the navigation features in the OMI. And how these features get set up. How the actions from one navigation's graphical component link to another graphical component. Is it very complex to do all this linking? Alright, let me go to the editor to show you how this whole thing gets set up. So this is the editor component. This is the editor of the OMI app which you have just seen. This is the layout of the whole OMI applications. And on the left hand side of the editor, you have seen the navigation tree. This is built up by the developer for the navigation through the OMI applications. The developer can build this by hand, or some of this navigation can be referenced back to the application server model. So, if in the application server, if I have built the model using the application objects, I will be able to bring this model into my OMI applications here, navigations here. So whatever I define in the application server model, that model will be updated as a navigations inside the OMI. So building a navigation is important for the OMI applications to navigate the data around the applications. So after building up the applications and navigations, what the users has to do is going into each of these navigation items and populate the content inside the layout. So like for example, here, this is a navigation item, alright, when the user choose on the map. So when this item has been chosen, what are the contents to be shown on the layout? Right? The application developer can go into the toolbox to pick the content, or you can go back to the application server, look into the objects that is defined in each of these application server, and pick up the graphical component that associated with all these objects and drag those graphical components into the layout. So the application developer can develop the content for the navigation item this way by manually go through each of the navigation item and populate the content individually. If the navigation is built by referencing to the system platform model, the application developer will not need to define the content or populate the content individually. This will be able to pick up automatically by the OMI app according to what are the graphical contents that define in each of these objects referenced by the navigation model. So, to explain you on that, let me go back to the system platform. So in system platform, this is my navigation, this is my system platform model. So in the region model, if I open up the objects, you will see that I have the graphics defined. And this graphics is exactly the one which you have seen just now in the OMI, which is the trend, the meter, the target, and the actual. So the same, if I move down to the children of this object, each of these children of the objects, if I may open them up, you will see that there is a similar objects, the trend, the meter, the target, and the current. defined in the children objects. So by defining all these graphics objects, when I bring the model across into the navigation tree, the OMI application is smart enough to go through each of these objects, picked up the trend, picked up the meter, picked up the actual graphical component and populate it into the layout without the application developer to define them manually. So by this way, all this content, all this content will be automatically populated without the developer has to manually drop them into the layout. So this is transferring whatever that you define as a model from system platform into OMI. And the OMI is smart enough to replicate those information, pick up those definitions of the graphics, populate them automatically without you has to manually define screen by screen, layout by layout. So that is one feature of the navigation. Another features of the navigation is if you want to transfer that navigation as a navigation tree here for the operator to choose. Alright? So OMI provide an app, we call it navigation app, to transfer whatever you define as a navigation tree into the runtime and allows the user to use the app, navigate through different areas along the navigation tree. So how is this app being defined? So let me go back to my editor. You see in the layout, I have this slicing pane. This is exactly what this pane over here. So by clicking on the side here, the pane was sliding. So this is what we call the slicing pane. So this is a slicing pane. And going into the layout to do the edit on the layout, this is a pane. And I simply go into the app which provided by the software. Okay, I go into the app which is provided by the software, go into the navigation app, you will see there's a navigation tree control. I will click this, drop in the navigation control. And by doing that, alright, I will be able to populate whatever I define in the OMI navigation into the app. And through this app, alright, it will provide exactly the navigation tree for the selection by the user. So that is how we bring the definitions on navigation into the runtime. And you may ask, how do we build this summary view? How by selecting on this summary view affect the selection in other pane, in other layout, in other part of the layout? This is using another application, or what we call content presenter application. So the content presenter application is by selecting on the region, the area, it will search through all the content objects in the system platform, pick up the graphical component that is searched for, populate them in the app. So in this case, I'm searching in the area, I'm searching for the graphical component that display the trend, meter, the type, and the target. And each of these objects, alright, each of these data objects inside the system platform, each of these objects contains such a graphics. So the search will pick up all these objects, populate them on the app here. And not only that, I can go down one level into each of these levels to continue to search anything that below this level, the objects that exhibit the same criteria, the content type. So, and I'll bring the next level content into the applications. So, this allowed me to search from the top level all the way down to the lowest level, until the lowest level where there's no more content objects or no more children, no more sub-level for me to search anymore. And this will be the lowest level. All right, and using these features, it allows me easily providing an overview, showing all the data of the objects, and easily navigate through all this overview and how this content presenter being set up. All right, so again, if I go back to my editor layout, you can see this is the pane where my content presenter is located or is hosted. So if I choose the content presenter app, this is the setting which I just have to do. All right, I can define what is the content type. And this content type, as you may go into the objects here, if I open up any of these objects, all right, this content type is exactly the graphics that which I want to search. All right, so this content type identify the graphics I want to search, and I can define the properties, how deep the level I want to draw out the graphics from my children to display in the overview. So in this case, by using the app, I would be able to draw out all the graphics, okay, which I want to search and display on the screen here, on the app here. And there's no stopping for me into how many levels I want to search until the bottom, until the lowest level where there is no further navigations item. All right, so through this demo, you can see OMI providing all this navigation level to take away all the complexity for you to define navigation around your applications. Just imagine, without these features to link the data, how much the engineering works that you will have to put in. And with these features, how well that you can organize the data around, all right, the hierarchy around the navigation which you have set up. All right, back to you, Zach.